Morning, this is Brian. Today is Tuesday, September 26, 2023, and I'm back here at Laguna Mountain Recreation Area. Today I got a couple of goals in mind. One thing I have in mind right now is to hike up to that ridge over there. There's a small peak. It's not even named. It's Peak 5868. You can see it on the topo maps. I believe it's on Peak Bagger. So I'm gonna try to see if I can make my way up there. There's gonna be some off-trail hiking and some bushwhacking and some fire break walking to get up there. And then I was thinking about the sun's gonna be too bright, but I was going to try to head up towards Foster Point. That over there is Foster Lodge. So I'm going to try to see if I can head up the PCT to some use trail and get up to Foster Point, a place I've never been to yet. And if time or energy permits, maybe even a small summit called Lightning Ridge High Point, which should be roughly over this way, and that's going to be about 5,800 feet as well. So mileage, I'm not sure yet. I've been studying Google Earth and looking at the use trails and fire breaks and terrain in the area. And one way I think I'm going to attempt doing this is I'm going to kind of hoof it for a short distance along Sunrise Highway until I get to the service road that leads into the Laguna Mountain and El Prado campgrounds. So I'm thinking about trying Peak 5868 first, which is, like I said, is up there. So I'm going to hike along the road into the campground, and then I'm going to get to a clearing area with some Jeffrey pines, as per the images I saw on the map, or Google Earth. And then I'm going to follow a fire break in the opening. I'm going to follow that most of the way up, and then I'm going to have to break trail, turn right, and probably bushwhack a fair amount to get to the higher portion of that ridge over there. And then maybe get back down to the Laguna El Prado campground and maybe see if I could find the way to get up to the summit of Lightning Ridge High Point. There should be a road that leads up to that, and there's supposed to be a reservoir near the top of that. So, and then cut around and try to jog down to the PCT from here and go ahead and follow the PCT for a while, and then bear left on a small use trail to Foster Point. So that's my plan for today. So I'm going to see how this is going to work out. Now, the interesting thing about Foster Point is you look on peakbagger.com, Foster Point is designated as elevation 5,640 to 5,680 feet on the topo maps. I mean, no, scratch that. That's what Peakbagger shows the elevation as. So scratch what I just said. Peakbagger shows it as elevation 5,640 to 5,680. But looking on Google Earth, the elevation actually appears, and actually if you really look at the topo map, if you really study the topo map, the elevation actually appears to be closer to 5,720 to 5,760 feet. So it's pretty interesting. I think somebody might have mistaken the data on that. So actually Foster Point should actually be roughly 80 feet higher than what Peakbagger says. So it's actually a little above 5,700 feet. All right, so what I'm going to do is get my gear. This is my backpack, my day pack, and I'm going to start trying to see if I can head up this road safely and get to the campground. So I'm going to try to do the hardest one first, which is Peak 5868. Try to head over to Lightning Ridge and see if I can find that. It should be also near the campground area, maybe a little more south of it, and then come back here and head down that way. I don't know if I'm going to have to pay to park to get the the Laguna campground. But either way, I'm going to probably have to either hike along the highway or get in my car and drive more. So I'm just going to choose to start my hike here. All right, so I'm going to start heading down the road and get into the campground and start working up there. Good views this morning. We got the good old Santa Rosa Mountains out here, culminating, of course, at good old Toro Peak over there in the center. There's Garnet Peak over there, the peak I did over 7.5 years ago. It's been a long time since I've done that one. I'm going to have to return because I didn't shoot video for that one. All right, well, that's enough blabbing about what I want to do, and it's time to start doing what I want to do. So I will see you up the way. All right, so just started walking up the road, and those western choke cherries are full of fruit. Wow. There's a lot of western choke cherry here in the Laguna Mountain range. A lot in my experience hiking here. I've never seen so much fruit. I guess for some reason I don't seem to be around this plant in late September and early October. Usually I see this plant during the early summer, fall, later fall, when most of the fruit, if not all of it's gone, and during the winter when the plant is fruitless and leafless. But these things are chock full. Again, this is Prunus virginiana variety demissa. Western choke cherries are absolutely loaded. So very impressive, very awesome to see that. All right, I had to point that out. If you're up here right now, Western choke cherries are just laden. I wouldn't really consider eating them because they're probably going to be extremely astringent, probably not taste very good, and I'm not so sure about their edibility either. It probably would make you pucker really hard if you tried. All right, well, enough yapping and more walking. All right, just a short way up the road. That's the access road to Foster Lodge. Foster Point's up there somewhere. I'm also here at the junction to the service road into the Laguna and Prado campgrounds. Very short walk. Like cars, just a little bit around the bend. Again, where that is Storm Canyon Vista. So here I am. Just going to follow this campground road. So I'm going to be hiking along this road for a little while. And then go to an opening and look for a real faint fire break and start working my way up the southwest side of the peak, which is up there. All right, well, I'll see you up the way. Let's see. Okay, so I'm hiking through the El Prado section here. So what I'm trying to look for is, well, after having turned right onto this road here, as you see in the last picture, I did pointing my finger. What I want to do is look for a small day-use parking area, and then that's going to be near where I'm going to start looking for the fire break. Never been in this campground before, so I don't know all the ins and outs. So this part here is a little me figuring it out. So we'll see how this works. I'm trying to keep my voice down a little bit because there are some people camping. Not very many, but I don't want to be obnoxiously loud either. So what I need to do is eventually start looking out for a fire break going up this way. So I'll let you know when I find it, or at least find the parking area to let me know that I'm near it. Okay, well, I think this is the little parking area. No, it's not a day use parking area. It says no day use parking here, but this is the little spot here. So now, I believe, this is what I saw on Google Earth right here. So now, shouldn't have that much further to go before I at least hopefully locate where the fire break is. There's a small, narrow, faint fire break that's supposed to start cutting up the southwest and west side of the peak. And then when I'm high enough on the ridge line, it's supposed to bear right and bushwhack my way to the summit area. I think the fire break is going to be in this clearing. I'm pretty sure. I think I see it. Nice and cool down here in the campground this morning. But I think I see where the fire break might be. Thought I saw a pathway through the chaparral over there, so I'm gonna start looking over here. I think the fire break's gonna be somewhere in there. So start looking for it. Yeah, I figured I'd try to do the hardest part of the day first, and do the more mellow parts last. Alright, so I just gotta look to see where the fire break is, and it should be golden. Let's see. Got a lot of goldenrod here. Beautiful California goldenrod. So let's see. This portion of the hike should take me up about roughly about 400 feet to the summit area. Just kind of looking to see where the fire break is. So that area is called the Manzanita area of the campground. So when you get there, that's where you're going to start looking for this turnoff if you want to climb that peak. Like I said, still kind of wandering around trying to see if I can find it. Sure, once I start climbing the slope in the chaparral, fire break should probably be a little more evident. So right now I'm completely just wandering around. Let's see if I can find it. Can't see it from here yet, I don't think. Maybe over there by those dead tree snags. Maybe it'll be over there. So I'm gonna go head up that way and see if that is indeed where I'm supposed to go. Well, as I'm wandering around looking for the fire break, already starting to get a little bit of fall color. Again, today is September 26th. So Rusa aromatica, skunk bush or skunk brush, is already starting to change color. Beautiful, really nice. So we're already starting to get some touches of fall color already. Skunk bush sometimes starts coloring a little early. Alright, so now kind of got to wander through this for a few minutes, trying to see if I can locate. Thought I saw an opening over there, so gotta start working my way around. This is gonna be cute. Looks like it's gonna be a little bushwhacking before I get up there, so oh well. Oh boy. Alright, well, I can work my way through this and I'll keep you posted. It's kind of a little challenging to get through here. Well, this is kind of inauspicious. There's another fence over here. This is definitely inauspicious for me. So I'm wondering if this is private property, because I see a barbed wire fence over here. Seems to be the theme of the year for me. I don't know. I don't even see really even see the fire break anyways. I don't really see it. Right here, it's just a big, gigantic wall of circuit carpus, manzanita. Well, this made for a very short but quick adventure. Very short and quick adventure. So I'm wondering if this is private property over here. I don't want to take that chance. I don't even... Yeah, maybe I should try to find my way up to Lightning Ridge High Point. Maybe I'll go over there. Kind of hoping to get up to this one. I'm going to do a little more research on this one. I believe this is a peakbagger.com peak. But anyways, I don't know if I can really see a fire break over here. Again, I'm not a person who likes to trespass on private property, so that's just not my thing. As much as I love climbing peaks, I want to do it respectfully. I'm going to have to do a little more research on this. This really sounded like a cool peak to climb, too. So I'm a little bummed, but I still have two other options. So I can at least get to two, and if I have to, drive to another spot and hit a peak in another area. I can always come up with alternatives. That's the one thing about Laguna Mountains. There are a lot of places where you can visit peaks, random and named, popular and scarcely known. So I'm not going to let this ruin my day. It's early and there's still plenty of time to get into something else. Alright. I'm gonna head back. I'm gonna head back to the campground road. As I'm thinking about it more, I think there is a way you can approach from the east, which might not even cross into private property. I think there are multiple approaches you can take to get up to Peak 5868, so I think that is going to just require me to do a little more research on which way I should take to get up there without crossing private property lines. One thing is there's a lot of dragon sagework growing here in this meadow. just about all of this is Artemisia drunkunculus, dragon sagewort, or wild tarragon, which is the ancestor of the cultivated tarragon. One thing, major differences though, these plants have a very different aroma, very kind of a bitter smell. They don't have that herby, that really fragrant smell. They kind of have more of a bitter herbage type smell. Herby meaning like something you would want to sprinkle on your food, or herbage like that green, types of green pungence that a lot of plants have. But yeah, this is just about all wild tarragon or dragon sagewort grown here. So yes, I'm going to play the respectful card and not to go up that way. But like I said, if I could find another, like, probably do some research on Google Earth, and I think there are some other approaches. There are some other approaches up there I could probably take possibly directly from Sunrise Highway, but which I believe are going to entail pretty much all bushwhacking and all cross country to get up there. But I believe it may be possible to take a different approach up there. So now I'm going to try to look for the way up to Lightning Ridge. I think Lightning Ridge is up this way. I think you can see it on the south side of the campground. There'll be a reservoir up there. Should be a reservoir. That is a known peakbagger.com peak, so it is known. I think that is it up there, but I think I might have to walk down the highway or something. Maybe even drive it. But I'm going to find out. See if I can worm my way up there. All right, so I can pretty much confirm that that is Lightning Ridge over there. I see what looks like a structure on the top of it, which is likely the reservoir. I can kind of see it from here. The sun's kind of blare in the view, but top of that hill there is a structure again. Ooh. Oh, here we go again. Did a spotlight video on this plant back in May. Beautiful. Velvety false lupine. Thermopsis californica variety Simota. We got a nice little population here. I'm trying to see if I see any seed pods on them. I did the video when this plant was full bloom, so really glad to get that. But I'd like to see what their seed pods look like. I've never seen them in seed before. Would have been really nice. So I guess we have some here at Laguna too. It's a local endemic variety of the Thermopsis californica species. So as for Lightning Ridge, I'm wondering if I could backdoor it. Maybe climb it cross country so I don't have to walk along Sunrise Highway for a mile or half mile. Well, I'm gonna just casually explore that first. Really don't want to spend my whole day walking on the highway. Kind of want to get out there and start making things happen. All right, well, let's see what happens. One thing about this campground, it is beautiful here. Jeffrey pines. I think there's some coulter pines in here too. Yeah, I think there are definitely some coulter pines in here, I think. But mostly Jeffrey pines here. All right, so let's try to get out of the sun a little bit. But that That is where that should be Lightning Ridge, because I did see some structures up there. It looked like a fence with a reservoir in it. So the summit of it is roughly about 5,800 feet. At least I can get a good few hundred feet of climbing to get up there, and I should get probably about 300 feet of climbing to get to the other peak, Foster Point, which isn't really a huge like promontory. It's like a very small summit with very little prominence, but it's supposed to. A, it's the top of a hill, and B, it's supposed to have unbelievable views there. So. And it's basically looking straight down in the desert. So. Plus, it's just a place to go and enjoy the mountains. All right, so this is where I left to go back out of the campground. So, yeah, I don't know if a backdoor approach is going to be too promising. I think I'm going to have to hoof it along until I find the service road. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think there's going to be a fire break or anything. It's going to be a complete bushwhack to get up there. So maybe not. So basically, this is where I was. Right about here is where that opening was, where all that dragon sagewort was. And I was going to try to find a fire break that goes up here. The peak would be up here somewhere, if you're looking at the map. This is the Laguna campground. But I did enter the Prado campground. So let's see. Take a look around here first and see. This could get interesting. Let me see. Oh, there's a telephone wire. But I don't think that is heading, I think it's heading away from the peak. I was going to say, a lot of times telephone wire right-of-ways, a lot of times will have a passage to get up there. But I think I'm just going to skirt along the highway and approach it from the service road. So I'm going to go here, turn right onto Sunrise, and start hoofing along there. So I guess Peak 5868 will remain on the to hike list. It's all right. I think I'm pretty confident I'll find a way to get up there. There it is, poking out from all the Jeffrey pines here. But yeah, one day I'll probably take an eastern approach to get up there, coming from the highway or something. All right, so I've been hoofing along the road for a cool minute now. I just gotta keep on going until I find the road. It should branch off from this way. So I'm heading south on Sunrise. Hopefully I can find that road soon. It's kind of sketchy walking along a 55-mile-per-hour highway. There's very little shoulder. Oh well. Keep you posted when I find it. Hopefully soon, so I can start working on this hike. Okay. I think I might have found where I'm supposed to go to get up the Lightning Ridge. Right here by Horse Heaven. So I guess I'm gonna have to walk in this campground too. This is a It's like a great little place to mellow out, hang out. Maybe I should have parked over here. But of course I didn't anticipate running into any issues. So let's see if I can find my way up to Lightning Ridge High Point. I was on the highway for quite a while. I think to myself, wow. I probably should have gone back to my car and got that and drove down here, but then I have to drive back up to Foss by Storm Canyon Lookout. Still planning on doing the hike to Foster Point. So I think this is our Lightning Ridge road here, serviced road, which is now a fire road and a hiking trail. So I think this is what's going to lead us up to Lightning Ridge right here. This should be it, right by Horse Heaven Campground. So I'm going to go start making my way up over that way. Very nice Jeffrey pine forest here, Jeffrey pine black oak. So very beautiful here. All right, I'm going to start working my way up this one. Let's see. Yeah, it was all uphill on the way here from the Laguna campground. It was basically all uphill. That was easy uphill. So I don't know how much more elevation gain I have ahead of me. Shouldn't be that bad. I mean, this should be a really easy hike, as far as I can tell, just on this service road. So it should be a very easy hike to get up to Lightning Ridge High Point. All right, well, see you on the way up there. See what kind of sights we'll see today. Yeah, I know some more coulter pines in this portion. So that's a coulter pine right there. Most of these are still Jeffreys, apparently. Yeah, I got some coulter pines up here. Very nice. After a nice, really cool start. You definitely feel it warming up a bit now. Ooh, skunk brush again. Rubus aromatica. Starting to change color already. It is early fall. These ones a lot of times will start changing early. Very beautiful. Black oaks, they'll probably be a couple more weeks before they start changing. We'll see how that goes. Making my way up this. It's a pretty easy hike getting up here so far. Birchleaf mountain mahogany, full seed. Circocarpus betuloides, Viridae betuloides. Full of seeds. Circocarpus is Greek for tail, caracos, and carpus, which is from carpon, which is fruit. So, tail fruit is literally what Circocarpus means. We got a nice little patch of it over here, a lot of which is still in full seed. Then we got a scrub oak over here. I think this is a Quercus acute. No. No, it looks like a canyon live oak, kinda. Huh, interesting. I think that might have been an acutidens, but actually it kind of looks like a canyon live oak. These are probably let me see. I think this is canyon live oak. Some of this looks like Quercus acutidens too. Some pretty interesting looking oaks over here. So, yeah, it's a nice grove of birchleaf mountain mahogany, or birchleaf cercocarpus. Oh, and here's a species of Lonicera. I don't know if this is Lonicera hispidula. It's a species of honeysuckle. Fruit all over it too. I gotta see what kind of Lonicera vouchers are here. That might be Lonicera hispidula, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, this is pretty cool. Now we've kind of broken out of the pines, and now we're in the chaparral. That was what I was trying to climb earlier. So I came across what I'm pretty sure is private property. And there's a meadow system down there. Large meadows. But yeah, I can kind of see what looks like a very faint, possible fire break here, and a possible one there. But like I said, I saw a barbed wire fence there. And that's peak 5868 right there. I'm gonna try to hit that one up, but I guess that one wasn't in the cards, at least not until I see if there's a private property free approach, probably, which is going to entail tons of bushwhacking coming up from the east or some other direction. But I think you can do a direct climb. I think there are some areas of sparser brush on the east side of the hill. But like I said, I'm going to have to research that a little bit more. Yeah, these are definitely not canyon live oaks, actually. Yeah, these are Quercus acutidens up here. So I'm just about at the summit right now. It's a very short walk up here. So yeah, definitely wanted to hit that one. Really interested in climbing that one today, but I'll have to do a little more research on that one. So the summit is not going to be here at the reservoir. It's actually going to be back here. So come up. You hear an acorn woodpecker. Ooh, brown spine prickly pear. Puente fiacantha growing up here too. All right, so the actual summit should be up here. So I'm just gonna walk up here. There's the reservoir. And the peak is over here. Very quick, easy walk. No bushwhacking or major rock scrambles. So here we are. Summit time, peak or Lightning Ridge High Point. It's about 5,800 feet. The peak bagger lists that as 5,800 to 5,840 foot in the closed contour. I think it's might be a few feet lower. I'll have to double check the topo maps, but yeah, this is approximately 5,800 feet. And we got some good views here of the big meadow areas of Mount Laguna. There's some pretty good views up here. So I guess, let's see, where do I want to start? So looking west, No, I'm not looking west. This is looking... Okay, this is looking west. So we're gonna I'll start off kind of to the west, and of course that's peak 5868, which I was gonna try earlier. Actually, now that I look at it, I really don't see I don't see a really distinct fire break. I know it was supposed to be pretty faint, but so that's where I started going up right there. I was gonna try to go up there. That didn't really work out too well. All right, so we're looking west. Now we're going to swing it around to the southwest. I can see out over by, I believe that's Otay. I think that's Otay Mountain over there. That's what it looks like from here. And then big swath of the Laguna Range here as we're looking more towards the south. I don't know, something kind of alarming going on over here. There's a patch right here of dying pines. There's a whole patch of it. Just in that one area, it seems like there's a little die-off going on over there, so I don't know what that's all about. But it seems to be relegated to that one spot, because I look over here, don't see really any big die-offs. Look to the left of it, to the south, don't really see a lot of big die-offs either, so I don't know what's up with that. Okay, now we're going to swing it around to the southeast, and we're looking at Stevenson Peak over there, which is about 6,200 feet, roughly about 6,200 to 6,240 feet, with the old golf ball shaped antenna radar thing up there, or whatever that is. Used to be an Air Force installation, and now I believe it's supposed to guide civilian aircraft. And of course we're swinging over towards the east-northeast, and there's Monument Peak, 6,271, and behind the pine is Hayes Peak. So now we're going to swing it around to the northeast. And Foster Point should be in there somewhere. I think Foster Point's going to be that right there. I think that's Foster Point right there. As we're moving around more towards the northeast, and you can see the Santa Rosa Mountains in the background. Now we're going to swing it around more towards the northwest. And I can see Palomar Mountain way off in the distance. And I can see some of the lower hills here in the lagunas. And then I can see North Peak over there in the Cuyamaca Mountains. And then there's Middle Peak. And I can see Stonewall. There's a little, you can see the granite outcropping in front of it. That's Middle Peak there, but if you see the granite there, that's Stonewall Peak there. Cuyamaca Peak is hidden behind Peak 5868, so you won't be able to see it from here. Especially because Peak 5868 is higher than this, so the line of sight is blocked off. But this is a pretty cool peak. Nice little rock, little rock outcrop up here on top. Very easy hike to get up here. I mean, just a few minutes. Just a few minutes of leisurely walking will get you up there. There's Sunrise Highway down there. So I'm going to have to hoof it along the highway for a while. But after I take a selfie or two, selfie and a couple of pictures around here, we'll go over by the reservoir and see what kind of cool stuff's around there. So I'm going to head over there, start heading over towards the reservoir. Look at that, prickly pear growing right next to western chokecherry. These western chokecherries are already starting to change color. It's kind of indicative of some of the colors they can change in fall. So these ones are already starting to change. Very beautiful. Love when these change color. There's a lot of this at Palomar Mountain, and they can change really vividly over there in Palomar Mountain. So I'm hoping next month to make a fall visit over there. And I got a week and a half of vacation coming up. My 2 days off plus my 5 days of vacation ended off with my 2 days off the following week. So I'm gonna have 9 days in a row. So hoping to plan some epic stuff. And that's just a few weeks away. So it's definitely some something to really look forward to getting into. So this is the reservoir right here. There's some people going crazy down there. What's this? See, that's the Laguna group campground. So basically, after I aborted my attempt at climbing Peak 5868, I literally walked through the campground on the paved road, and then had to hoof it along the highway for a while. I can see my car from here down there at Storm Canyon Vista down there. So I got a ways to walk back on the highway. But I have to walk back that way if I want to get on the PCT so I can visit Foster Point. Just wondering if there's a use trail or something I can use to get out from here. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I've learned from experience when you hike, well, actually, there weren't really any cliffs. I've had this experience when I tried to hike downhill near Mount Wilson. I was trying to get to Mount, what was it? Occidental Peak, and after deciding not to go through with it and try to head back, I had to, what I should have done was just follow the way to get back out. Instead, I decided to try to hike down the real loose dirt, and there's a lot of rock outcrops right above the highway where the road was cut. So I ended up really eating it, if you know what I mean, falling down. And yeah, it was a pretty ugly scene. There's pretty good views up here. Yeah. So back down there's a campground. So I'm gonna go start heading back down the road to the highway. I'm not gonna film too much of that because it's really not gonna add anything to this adventure unless I see something on the way there. So I'm gonna head back down the service road and back to Sunrise Highway again. It'll be a nice downhill walk for a while. Nice circuit carpets here too. All right. Well, back I go. Huh. I found what looks like a used trail. Wonder if this will take me back down. Let's see. I'll follow this. This is actually heading me more directly towards the highway, I think. Let me see if that's actually what happens. So I'm going down the east side of Lightning Ridge High Point. There appears to be a used trail here, so may as well follow it and see if it gets me back down. It doesn't look like it's going to shave too much distance of road hiking or highway hiking. This could add to the adventure a little bit. Maybe this won't add any or take any mileage away from hoofing it, but this could end on a pretty interesting mini loop. So I can at least show some different scenery on the way down. Cool little use trail. All right, keep following this and see where this leads. Okay, well, seems like this use trail just kind of leads me back towards the service road, the little gravel road I hiked up to the top. I hiked up to the top of Lightning Ridge High Point. So you can see the road right there. This is a cool little diversion though, I gotta admit. It starts out really sunny, and it gets into this nice little wooded glade. This was definitely made for a nice little detour. I'm kind of roughly paralleling the road right now. I have a feeling it'll probably lead right back to it. Yeah, curves it down here. So yeah, it leads right back to the service road here. So it didn't really take me down to Sunrise Highway any more quickly, but sure made for a nice little diversion. Okay, well, figure if I can vary the scenery up a little bit, why not? That was a cool little diversion down the other side. Starting on the other side and kind of winding its way around. Pretty cool. There's more of that skunk brush again. Black fall's my favorite season. Leave it to botany to be the reason why. All right, just gonna go back down to Sunrise Highway. And bank a left and go downhill towards Storm Canyon Vista area. But before I proceed, nice little view of Hayes Peak, the small sub-peak just north of Monument Peak, which is still kind of hidden behind the pines. There it is. Kind of hard to see with the Jeffrey pine in the front, but all right, see you down the way. Again, follow this back, turn left to head north on Sunrise Highway, and it'll lead me probably about 3/4 of a mile or so to Storm Canyon Vista, which will be on the other side of the highway. All right, let's see. As I make my way down, I noticed when I was walking along Sunrise Highway, I noticed acorns already on the ground. So it looks like some of these black oaks are producing. Looks like we got a pretty good crop on this black oak here. These must have been acorns that started last year in 2022, because being a red oak, most red oaks, with a couple of exceptions, ripen in 2 growing seasons. So these acorns got pollinated during the spring of 2022, and now they're going to be ripening here in fall of 2023. But yeah, it looks like the California black oaks up here are like they're going to have some acorns this year. That's a very good sign. That's a sign I love to hear. So I noticed I saw some acorns on the ground when I was walking along the highway. It's pretty cool. Let's hope they're all going to have a good crop this year. There I am, hoofing it along. I know some of these little black oaks, these little young black oaks here are starting to change a little bit. Already starting to get a little fall color on them. Sometimes it seems like the younger ones start changing color sooner. But yeah, I'm getting a little change. A little bit of leaf change coming up. Tiny bit. Amazing how many of these are on the side of the road. Pretty cool. Larger ones won't start coloring until well into October. Depending on how the temperatures are this fall, I'm wondering if it's going to be more of a late October or November. Last year it seemed to move more of a November time frame. While the temperatures were generally cooler than average daytime, the overnight lows were mild early in the season. Oh, there's Garnet Peak over there. I'm gonna have to, again, like I said at the beginning of this whole video, I'm gonna have to make another trip back up there. Some of the most insane views you'll get are around that area. So absolutely bonkers, vertigo-inducing views from that crest and that huge drop down into the desert valley below. So that's just something to think about. As a great hike here in Laguna, there are definitely different ways of getting up there. A lot of people just park on the side of Sunrise and pick up the Garnet Peak Trail and just book it straight there. Other people can use the PCT from trailheads north or south of the peak and amble along and then branch off and head east on the Garnet Peak Trail to finish the hike. So there's definitely plenty of options to get up there. You can make it a short, less than 3 mile hike, or you can make it as long as you want. But yeah, Garnet Peak's definitely a highly recommended hike. I said earlier in the video I did it back in 2016, and it's not a really hard hike. There are some steep sections, especially when you're on the Garnet Peak Trail itself heading up towards the peak. A few steep sections, but nothing that requires any really hardcore extreme effort. Definitely a recommended hike here. I'll have to go up there and get it on video this time. Alright, still working my way towards Storm Canyon. I can see it. It looks like it's about at least a quarter to about a third of a mile away. So I'm not going to bore you too much with roadside commentary. So I'll see you basically when I'm there, unless something pops up, something interesting, like wildlife or whatever. Alright, I'm just about back at Storm Canyon Vista. Nice huge patch right here of Western Jimson weed. Datura wrightii. Really nice patch of it here. Still blooming pretty hardcore. Such huge flowers. Very beautiful plant too. Very nice. So here I am, back by my car. Now what I gotta do is just waltz down this and pick up the PCT. Once I get the PCT, gotta follow it up that way, and then I'm gonna branch off of that, take a left turn at a use trail, and that should take me to Foster Point. So I'm gonna go ahead and start working my way down to that. Right down these steps should lead me to the PCT in pretty short order, and I'm guessing it's gonna follow up that way. That over there is at Foster Lodge. I think it's privately owned by some other company, I believe. But alright, let's go pick up the PCT. I think this is a connector to it. I know I've shot video around here before. I believe I found the PCT. Should be it right here. So I'll start following it this way. Should be leading me towards Foster Point. First, let's just get a view of that vertigo-inducing drop down Storm Canyon here, with Pinyon Mountain and Whale Peak right across the valley. Really cool. So yeah, we get some pretty sick views here by the Vista Point here. A couple thousand feet down. So now we're going to start heading this way, back on trail. All right, well, we'll see what kind of cool scenery I find along this way, and I'll keep you updated on my progress. All right, so here I go. A little patch of canyon live oak over here. Pretty nice. Pretty nice little area. This area now is burnt a few times in recent decades. Now we got Javi buckwheat showing up now. Oh, that's the circuit carpus. Right there. Area going up for Sequoia variety polifolium. So it looks like what we're going to do is, looks like we're going to round this ravine. So we're losing a little elevation, not too much. We're going to start, I guess, rounding somewhere over here. Not sure. I think it's going to go down towards this gully here. We got some buzzing grasshoppers. I'm guessing this is an upper tributary of Storm Canyon, I'm guessing. Sure leads down towards it. Pretty cool. Pretty nice looking. All right. Well, let me start working my way. I should start getting some uphill now. So I have probably about 300 feet of climbing to, 300-foot elevation difference between where I'm parked and Foster Point. So we'll see how that goes. And while I'm heading up there, ooh, what do we got? Sierra Currant? No, this is Sierra Gooseberry. I'm tripping. Rebiz Roselee, variety Roselee. This looks like fringed meadow rue. Thalictrum fendleri. I'm not sure if this is going to be variety fendleri or variety polycarpum. I think variety fendleri would be pretty likely here in the mountains. Unless this is Rebiz amarum. This could be, there's another species that's very similar to Rebiz Roselee, the Sierra gooseberry, and that's this one here, or could be this one, Rebiz amarum. Let me just take some mental notes. So the leaves are kind of fuzzy. So make a note of that when I do my identification. And look at that. Amelanchi or Utahensis, Utah serviceberry. These are the fruits from earlier this summer, which now have pretty much shriveled up. Whatever the birds didn't get. Oh, there's, ooh, okay. We still have one with a little fleshiness on it, but it looks like some other animal got to it. Yeah, this is Utah serviceberry here. Looks like there's gonna be a lot of it along this trail. Some of them look like they're starting to show signs of changing color. Most of the time they're going to be kind of a pale yellow when they change color, the Utah serviceberry. But I've seen some that turn orange. One time I was hiking near Heart Bar Peak in the San Bernardinos. I hiked a random peak and then I went to Heart Bar Peak, but along a dirt road that I took up to a saddle. It's a whole big patch of it, and they were all turning orange. And it was the early half of September. It's kind of weird, kind of early, I think, but they were turning orange. It's very beautiful. So they can change some other colors, but mostly it's going to be kind of a pale yellow. All right, we'll see what else comes along on this portion of the hike as I keep you posted as I move along this. And the more I see this here, the less I'm thinking this honeysuckle is Lonicera hispidula, because there'd be some clasping leaves around the stems, I believe. I wonder if this is just, I wonder if this is southern honeysuckle. I know I did a whole spotlight video on it in June of the southern honeysuckle, Lonicera subspicata denudata, but here in the mountains, I think we might have different species. Down where I was, should only be that one, but I don't see any leaves clasping around the stems. I'm definitely gonna have to do some research on this. Very beautiful. The fruits are turning orange. I think they're gonna probably turn redder later on, and maybe even darker. As I'm climbing up here on the PCT, finally getting some elevation gain. Finally. Very cool. Very nice hike so far. All right. Well, I'll keep you posted. See what else I find. All right. So I'm out of the gully. Now I'm in the chaparral. As the PCT kind of winds its way around this side of the canyon. Ooh, Garrya flavescens, pale silk tassel. Starting to see that now. And these scrub oaks are just laden with acorns. Just laden with acorns. Really awesome. Love seeing that. And Parish blue curls, Trichostemma parishii, growing up here too. So this is the mouth of Storm Canyon. Mouth of Storm Canyon, and that's that gully where I was winding around when I started coming up this way was the start of it, the head of Storm Canyon. Pretty cool. And also the Vista point too. That's all part of the head of the canyon. So working our way up, and chamise is coming into play, of course. Good old Adenosema fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum. Cupleaf ceanothus, Ceanothus perplexans, and manzanitas galore. I imagine a lot of this is probably Eastwood manzanita, I would imagine. A young side blotch lizard. All right. Stay tuned for more scenery up here, heading up to Foster Point. All right, it's been a little while since I've checked in. It's the first time I've been able to see Cuyamaca Peak today. Right there in the center, off in the Cuyamaca Mountains. Now we're starting to get better views into Storm Canyon again. We got some random small peak here. It's about 5,950 feet or so. I can see Hayes Peak over there, and I'm going to see what this is here. If this is my target area here, that might be Foster Point, but I'm not sure yet. So Foster Point is kind of like a small knoll with very little prominence on it, so it's not going to be like a big peak. But it's definitely a place I've been curious about visiting for a while, and it's supposed to be a really cool area to stop by, visit, and it's supposed to be some pretty good views there, and it's supposed to be an interpretive display. I think it's like a peak visor or something, showing off all the peaks of the area. So I think that's a very random peak just north of Hayes Peak. And I think it's about 5,950 feet or so. Kind of a small sub-peak of Monument Peak, which is next to Hayes Peak. It's a pretty nice day out here so far. I'm expecting it's going to get probably about to 80 degrees later, though. Of course, just in time for me to have my days off is when the warmest weather of the week strikes. So last week, that was not the case, but I didn't go out. I'm regretting that quite a bit right now. Well, I'm not regretting being out today. Instead, I'm just regretting that I didn't go out last week too. Let's put it that way. It's not really a steep hike on the PCT. It's pretty mellow. But yeah, there's something on top there. I don't know if it's a rock or if it's that peak visor or interpretive sign. I think that might be Foster Point. All right, so there's peak 5868, the one I attempted earlier, but turned around because of concerns of private property. And there's Lightning Ridge right there. High point there on the right side before it starts sloping downwards. That was a pretty nice little detour. Well, I wouldn't say it was a detour because I deliberately went for it and didn't have to detour. But it's a nice little peak. If you want to have some pretty nice views up there. All right. So what I got to do is while I'm going up this, gonna have to look for a use trail on the left. Branch off to the left and head up to the top of the hill. So I'm gonna keep my eyes out for it because the PCT doesn't go directly to it. So I looked at imagery on Google Earth, and there are a couple of use trails that branch off coming from this way, on the left side of the trail. So technically I'm hiking southbound PCT. So if you're going southbound on the PCT towards Foster Point, look for it on your left. So I'll see you when I get to it. Found a little breach here. So this is where I came from. So let's see. I think this is it right here. Very narrow use trail. This might not even be the trail, I don't know. But regardless, it's taking me towards the direction I'm aiming to go. So, not really that worried about it. All right, I'm just about there. Yes, that's the structure I saw. That's the peak visor. So, all right, this is it. Foster Point. Now, Peak Bagger shows it as 5,640 plus, but I believe this is closer to 5,720. So here's the lookout. The highest elevation is actually going to be over there. Let me go hit that first really quickly. Here's a little use trail here. Still leads just back to the PCT, but let's go find the highest point. It's actually not at the peak visor. So we're going along this use trail, heading towards that taller shrub over there. Will lead you towards what I believe will be the actual high point of Foster Point. Let's see. Yeah, right where this thicket of oak is, this little oak thicket. This is Foster Point, the higher point of it. Actually, the highest point is inside the shrub, which I'm not gonna do. But all right, well, here's the higher part of Foster Point. And again, Peak Bagger shows it at 5,640 plus. I'm seeing 5,720 to 5,760. If you look on the contours of the topo maps, even on Peak Bagger, they have the Cal Topo. If you look on the Cal Topo, if you look at the elevation rings, there's a 5,720 foot ring around this area. I think it's a 5,720 foot contour. So that's why I read the topo maps. A lot of times I do that to actually verify. Sometimes I've seen people get it twisted, and whoever added the peak, I guess, didn't realize it was a 5,720 instead of a 5,640 foot contour. So this is the high point right here. But I'm gonna go head back over towards the summit where the peak visor is, and that's where I'll do my maybe my three. Oh, there's a little bit higher point over here too. Let's go over here. This will probably be pretty close, actually, elevation-wise. So this is. Oh, wait a minute. There's a rock back here that's a little higher. I'm gonna just do a short little chaparral wade to get over here. I like to make it as official as I can. All right. Here we go. A little chaparral wade. Looks like I can actually access the high point from here. Kinda. A little minor bushwhacking, not much. Okay. Kind of feel official. There's another higher point over there. All right, well, I'm calling this it. Well, here's the top of Foster Point. Again, there's not a lot of prominence here. As you can see, it dips a little and it starts rising over there. But that's not something I'm really that concerned about. I'm just glad I'm on top of here. I've always wanted to visit Foster Point just for the heck of it and see what the views are like. So I'm going to do a 360 up here, I guess. All right, looking south. It's looking over towards Wooded Hill. Now we're going to swing it over to the southeast. Off in the distance is Cuyapaipe Mountain, the highest point in the Laguna Mountain range. Now we're going to swing it a little bit more to southeast, and there's Stevenson Peak, 6,200 to 6,240 feet, 40 foot closed contour elevation. Monument Peak, and its next door neighbor, Hayes Peak. And there's point 5950. I think that's about approximate elevation. I'll double check that on the Cal Topo maps. It's either there or it's up there. It's a small hill, not a lot of prominence before you get to Hayes Peak, but it's something I definitely would like to invest in climbing because the PCT, I think, gets you close to it. And then I think there's a fire break or some way to get up there. And so, yeah. So now that's looking east. Now we're looking northeast, and then there's Whale Peak, Pinyon Mountain, and Zabrego Desert State Park. The whole Santa Rosa Mountain, most of the Santa Rosa Mountain range, all in front of you, including over there, Villager Peak, Rabbit Peak. I think that one there is Don's Peak or Lorenzen's Peak. It's got a bunch of different names. Don's Peak, Lorenzen's Peak, all of unofficial, or just Peak 6582, I think is that one there. And then there's Toro Peak, the highest peak in the Santa Rosas. And then there's Santa Rosa Mountain right there. San Jacinto Mountains. I can even see the San Bernardino Peak Divide from here in the San Bernardino National Forest. I can see, let's see, I can see Granite Mountain here, it looks like. Trying to see. I think I could see I think that might be the San Isidro mountain range right there, where San Isidro Mountain is. Not the border San Isidro Mountains, because we're looking northeast, but there's the high point is San Isidro Mountain in Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. Then looking over towards Garnet Peak, looking north now. To the left of that ridge in the far background, way in the background, miles away, is Palomar Mountain. Then I can see the main peaks of Cuyamaca, including North, Middle, and Cuyamaca. Now we're swinging to the west. Peak 5868. My attempt earlier that ended in private property, likely. And so there is the one I did make it to, and that's Lightning Ridge, as we're looking towards the southwest. All right, I'm going to go over to the peak visor and see what we can see. Okay, I guess this is the peak visor. Yeah, of course, middle peak. North Peak, obviously. 82 miles to San Gorgonio Mountain. I can kind of see it left of San Jacinto way back there now. El Toro Peak. I thought it was just called Toro Peak, obviously. Coyote Mountain. 30 miles. Huh. So Coyote Mountain must be down there below the Santa Rosa Ridgeline. Obviously. Oh, Rosa Point. I'm guessing Rosa Point, 5,038 feet. I've heard of that one before. I guess it's on that part of the ridge, south of Villager Peak. I've heard of that one. Pinion Mountain. So that's Pinion Mountain, and then obviously Whale Peak is kind of attached to it. And Whale Peak is not 4,492, it's 5,349. And of course, Monument Peak. So, Foster Point. Finally made it up here. I've heard about this place for years, but I finally made the effort to come here. I guess I didn't really put a lot of attention on, or a lot of effort on coming here before because it wasn't a really huge peak, but I gave up on giving a heck about that. I don't care. I wanted to come here and see how cool it is, and yeah, it's pretty darn cool over here. Maybe I should have come here sooner, but I'm here now, so it's all good as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, we do get some pretty nice views. In fact, maybe I should head over to the edge of the cliff there and see how much more vertical the view is. So I'm here near the edge of the escarpment. Got this beautiful male side blotch lizard right here. Kind of doing some head bobbing displays. Very handsome lizard. Very colorful. That's his territory marking head bob display. A lot of lizards that are related, especially a lot of lizards in the spiny lizard / horned lizard family, the Phrynosematidae, like side blotch lizards, fence lizards, spiny lizards. A lot of times they'll do those head bobbing displays, and this is what we have here is Uda stansburiana elegans, which is the western side blotch lizard, and a lot of times you'll see them, just like the western fence lizards to which they are related, do the head bob displays over either when they see predators or if they see other competing lizards on their territory. And I could have sworn I saw a western tanager bird flying right across the canyon. I just saw this bright yellow bird. I think it might have been a western tanager. But yeah, what a handsome lizard that is. Beautiful. This one's an adult male. It's got more of a dark complexion with some green and hints of bluish. And they have some bluish on their undersides too. Kind of like your blue bellies, in other words, western fence lizards. They have blue on their bellies too. But here we are. Okay, this is what I was hoping to see. Straight down drop way down in the Storm Canyon. So this is absolutely breathtaking over here. It looks like if anybody were to try to climb this, maybe from somewhere in that civilization, you'd be looking at a very long and extremely arduous hike getting up here. Thousands of feet of climbing, probably lots of rock scrambling, probably maybe even mountaineering. I remember doing a video back in 2022 when I was hanging out by the Storm Canyon Vista area, was contemplating, hey, could this be climbed one day? And I imagine a probably good mountaineer would be able to do this. This is going to be a lot of bushwhacking, probably lots of rock scrambling, maybe even rock climbing for that matter. But just look at the steep eastern escarpment here of the Laguna Range. Just absolutely breathtaking. Absolutely gorgeous. From over there at Garnet Peak, the big wide mouth here of Foster Point and Storm Canyon. Just absolutely breathtaking scenery here. Very beautiful. Very beautiful up here. Definitely worth a hike here, without a doubt. There was a rent-it bird chirping in the chaparral. Is that another side-blotched lizard? Another one? There seem to be quite a few of them hanging around here on the cliffs. I've seen a couple young ones too. But yeah, it's very beautiful up here. Very beautiful. Might have been the same one that I was looking at earlier. Might have been the same one that came down from the rock over here, I think. Very cool up here. Very nice view. I'm probably going to shoot a few pictures, maybe do some zoom pictures, and then I guess maybe start working my way back. Very beautiful up here. Very awe-inspiring. So yeah, Foster Point is definitely something that a San Diego County hiker or anybody visiting San Diego County and trying to get into some hiking could do. It's on trail the whole way here. Just like I said, when you get to where you could see that little peak visor, what you're going to do is when you see it coming close, you're just going to look for any small use trail that branches off and heads eastbound up towards it. So it's on trail the whole time, so you don't have to worry about cross country and route finding. It's pretty easy to get here. And it's not a really difficult hike. It's not really steep, at least not the way I came, but absolutely beautiful. I think I even see pinyon pines down there. There might be a few Perry pinions down there, maybe. See, like I said, we're on the topo maps. It shows this is a little bit above 5,700 feet. So it's probably closer to 5,730 or 5,740 is what it looked like it showed on Google Earth. But on the on Peak Bagger, this is listed as a peak on Peak Bagger, and it shows at 5,640. So believe your topo maps. Now, from looking down here, I could see some California black oak that resprouted. I could even see some California laurel down there, I think. Bellaria californica, I believe. Some patches. There are a few patches here in the lagunas. It's not very common in San Diego County. I know I pointed out all the way up at 6,200 feet by Monument Peak. But yeah, there appear to be some California laurels in there. California bay laurels. Alright, enough yapping. Time to start taking some pictures. Alright, I'm going to start making my way back to the PCT and start working my way back. Definitely not going to be filming as much on the way back, as I'm not going to be making any loops out of this. Not like the little tight loop I did over there on Lightning Ridge. So I'm just going to follow this use trail back to the PCT, which is just down there. It's a very short distance away. Actually, this use trail looks a little better defined than the one I took, but the chaparral's so thin here that sometimes you can kind of weave your way around anyways. So, leaving Foster Point, about to rejoin the PCT, which is right here. I'm going to start by... Yeah, this is probably the way you'd come if you're coming northbound on the PCT. If you're coming from this direction, you'd probably just book a right on this here. So it came up from the other side over there, which is not that far away. So turn right on the PCT, start heading back to Storm Canyon Vista. See you along the way. I always say I'm not going to film as much on the way back. Well, sometimes on the way back is where you tend to notice things that you might have missed on the first bit. On the way back, I've noticed that this couple of ceanothus, and I've seen a couple others earlier, for some reason I didn't point them out, but I'm going to point it out now. They're blooming here in late September. It's just so weird to see them blooming this late in the year. I did a spotlight on this plant in the springtime when it was blooming. It was in full bloom. I've seen a few specimens along the PCT that are blooming. This is Ceanothus perplexans. So it's kind of weird to see them blooming in late September. We're less than a week away from the 1st of October. That's on Sunday. When they're blooming right now. So I've seen a few of those. So I even saw one scrub oak that had scrub oak catkins or scrub oak flowers on it. And I was thinking, what the heck? Why is that? So I'm wondering if the rain that we had from Hurricane Hillary, which became a tropical storm for hitting us, I wonder if that had something to do with that, with a little extra late summer bloom action. This was just a little over a month ago when we got, I think some of these areas must have got probably about anywhere from 5 to, some areas might even got close to a foot of rain. So I can imagine Storm Canyon was raging. So I was just kind of curious. I did notice a few of them blooming. I failed to point them out earlier, but now that I saw it again, I figured I better point it out now before I don't. So there are a few ceanothus bushes that are blooming. Normally don't bloom this time of year. They've usually already ripened their seeds and their seed capsules have exploded. And another thing, we got a coast live oak over here too. Here we are, about close to 5,700 feet. This is the second highest I've ever seen coast live oak. And again, here at Mount Laguna. This one is Quercus agrifolia variety Oxyadania. This is the southern coast live oak, the higher elevation, more inland variety of the coast live oak. And you can tell it's resprouted from the fires that ripped through here. So yeah, I failed to notice that on the way up too for some reason. Sometimes on the way back you tend to notice things that you might have missed. So yeah, there's even a coast live oak up here around 5,700 feet. So I'm thinking I might get lucky one day and find a coast live oak at or slightly above 6,000 feet. If I do, that's going to be just freaking fantastic. Freaking fantastic. Here's some more ceanothus in bloom. Not a big full bloom, not like in April, May, or June, but definitely noticeable. Some of them are blooming now in fall, probably because Hurricane Hillary and that rainfall, which is very atypical, that much rain might have not manipulated, I want to say induced them to blow out some more blooms. Again, very an interesting time of year to have that happen. All right, well, enough yapping. I will periodically check in for some minor updates, or unless I see something else crazy like that. And otherwise, I'll see you when I'm most of the way back. All right, so there's Foster Lodge. I know I could see it from the highway earlier, but that is it right there, right underneath those oaks and pines. Right underneath, across the highway and underneath Lightning Ridge. Pretty cool. Still working my way back. I'm going to be getting ready to head into this part of this little ravine of Upper Storm Canyon. Going to round my way around, round my way about, back up to where I'm parked over there. I'll see you along the way. Alright, so I'm making my way down into the upper ravine here, this little finger canyon of the Big Storm Canyon, which from over here, if you'd been over by the Vista Point area, you would not know that there's a big escarpment dropping down. Well, on the way back, came across the small Monardella nana. Beautiful plant in the mint family. I did a spotlight on this one last year when it was in bloom. I'm just going to rub a leaf. Oh, does that smell good or what? Just gently rub a leaf. You don't have to don't pick the leaves off. Just gently rub it with your fingers. And be prepared for an olfactory experience that is quite delectable. It's got a sweet, slightly tangy, but sweet mint smell, being that it is a Lamiaceae, a mint family plant. So yeah, I have seen it in a good few spots here in the lagunas, and that's where you're going to mostly find this plant. It's not a very widespread plant from my understanding. And there it is again, Monardella nana. I've seen a couple species of Monardella, a couple other more narrow leaf species I sometimes have a little trouble telling apart still. Eventually I'll get it. Confident that I can eventually separate those so I can start getting into more spotlight videos. I know some of you might have noticed that I haven't dropped a spotlight video in a long time. I just haven't found the inspiration to do that. I'm still getting out here on a semi-regular basis and hiking, but I just haven't found the inspiration to do a video, an actual spotlight video. I haven't done a spotlight video, I haven't done an ode video, and I know I haven't done a Trees of San Diego or Trees of San Diego County video. I haven't done that. I haven't done that in a very long time. So lately I've just been going to my hikes, going where I'm going to go hiking, and then just usually get back home. But hopefully I can start bringing that up again, getting back into that fine habit of doing spotlights. So we'll see where inspiration may or may not strike. All right, I want to keep going and keep you updated. Shouldn't be that much longer before I'm back. I just got to go around another ravine real quickly and then do a small climb up to the rim there, and that'll basically do it. All right, I'm getting back. I'm almost there. I just got to round this corner and just go up to there. That's where the spot is, where Storm Canyon Vista areas. Finally tried a service berry for the first time. So when they're fully ripe, they're kind of purplish colored. These are edible. These are edible, I will tell you. There are a few seeds inside. This fruit is a pome, P-O-M-E. It's a type of fruit that's related to apples, pears, quinces. So it's a core fruit, just like a pear or apple. They do have a slightly Swedish taste. It is a wild edible, and this is Utah serviceberry, Amilanki or Utahensis. I'm just chucking out the seeds. I'm not swallowing the seeds. Not bad. kind of sweetish. Not the first time I ever tried a service berry. I've always been curious about trying these. They turn purplish when they're ripe. So see a plant with leaves like this, kind of rounded, large, sometimes medium sized, sometimes very large shrub. Come in fall, late summer and fall, the fruits turn purplish. They're kind of sweet. Almost slightly apple tasting, almost slightly. Not like your big red delicious apples or Fuji's and all those really big delicious cultivars. Kind of probably like it's got like a little bit of a sweetness to it. It's not a lot. I mean, it's a pretty small pome, so, and there are a few seeds in there, so just be careful you spit the seeds out. Here's snowberry right here, Symphoracarpos. I think this might be Symphoracarpos mollis, maybe. No, either that or this is. I think this might be Albus variety livigatus, common snowberry. Those are not edible, from what I understand. Do not try eating those. Ooh, and we got broadleaf California fuchsia in bloom over here too. Epilobium canem subspecies latifolium. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Up here in bloom here in late September. So yeah, if you're expecting like really extremely tasty and mouth-watering delicious, you might be disappointed. But it's pleasant. I think it's pleasant. I think it's a pretty pleasant tasting pome. Definitely worthy of trying. Just make sure you can identify the plant before you eat it. Anything from it. There are some plants that might have similar looking fruits. So be sure you can identify it first. Alright. So just about back. Should be back in the car in about a minute or two. There's the Storm Canyon Vista area. I'm just about to leave the PCT, follow this little use trail, turn left to go back up to that platform. Here it is, Storm Canyon Vista. That'll about wrap it up for this one. Nice day out here in the lagunas. Get back before it starts getting too warm. It's starting to get warm now. So here we are. Thanks for watching, coming along on this adventure. And hopefully next week will be another one. See you on the next adventure. Thanks for watching.